Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay on ubnradio.com.
And welcome. My name is Dr. Marissa, also known as the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And you are listening to this week's episode of Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. Every Tuesday on Universal Broadcasting Network at 12 naturally high noon. And now every Thursday at 7 p.m. on AM 1050 KCAA. NBC News Radio, my newly syndicated channel. And I'm happy to be here with you. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this is a show about hope and how to be happy 88% of the time. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words, no Kardashian talk. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy more than you actually are now. I am your host, Dr. Marissa Pay, and thanks to my station managers, Tony, Paul, Brett, and sound engineers, Garrett, Carlos, and Mia at both UBN and KCAA. And my assistant producer, Jarvis Essex. So anyone who knows me knows that I'm all about embracing life, and that's where I met my guest today. A few months back, I got to moderate a women's conference, Global Women's Conference at the Anaheim Hilton, and it was a panel on embracing your life and feeding your soul, and that's where I met Brenda, and I'll introduce her in a second. And I wanted to talk about life. I did not know that Brenda Williams would not be with us anymore, but certainly I had actually picked this topic today on embracing life because Time magazine this week had menopause on its front cover, a $2 billion industry for men who want to improve down there, which is, the newest thing. And we spend, YWCA says, $7 billion women do on everywhere on trying to be more than we are or try to keep up with whatever it is that we think is the perfect look. And it all is based on this thing that I call the syndrome of not enoughness, that somehow we're not enough. Somehow we're not good enough. We don't look beautiful enough. We aren't enough. And certainly it really got brought home with the news last night. So I would like to introduce you to someone who works with me in this field called balanced life coaching or life coaching on talking about our dis-ease with life and how we can improve so that we become more at ease with who we are, how we look, what we have, and all of that is in this thing called life. Brenda Williams is a board-certified professional coach and energy leadership master practitioner who helps individuals and businesses be more, do more, and have more so that they can live a life filled with more happiness and success with less stress. Please welcome to my studio, Brenda Williams.
Thank you, Dr. Marissa. It's a privilege and an honor to be here. I'm very excited.
Yes, I'm glad to have you too. And it's our business. This is a relatively new area, right? It is different than traditional therapy. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And it does seems to deal with the theme around how do we remedy life dis-ease? How do we get out of things that seem to consume us, that obviously consumed Robin, this feeling of not wanting life, not being happy with our lives, not liking or accepting or seeing a value what life is exactly as it is. So tell me a little about what you do and what kind of people come to you and why you're interested in this.
Well, I'm interested in this because it changed my life. You know, many years ago, about 15 years ago, I felt like I was lacking meaning and happiness. And I went on a journey of self-discovery myself when someone said to me on the beach in Cancun, Brenda, what is your purpose in life? And I didn't know the answer. And I was doing well. I had a great career. I was making good money, traveling the world, but something was missing. And you're so right. We get caught up in the lifestyle, especially in sunny California. You know, having more, wanting more. We got to look good. We got to make more money. We got to have the bigger house. And you can really get caught up in that. And so many people that I talk to end up finding they're not happy because they work so hard.
Yeah, and it's one of those, you know, that book. If you grow up in the book according to Cinderella, right? You think that if you follow, and the book according to our society and the magazines and the TV and the media, that what is the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to go to school, get a job, have a career, meet someone, get married, have children, have a nice car, have a nice house, have money for travel, be comfortable, have an airplane, have some kind of notoriety, have some kind of fame, be a rock star or a movie star, and you'll live happily ever after, right?
So
and
true.
and what an exactly proof that does not bring you happiness.
And I'll take that a step further. When we're in school, we're not taught anything other than go to school, be a good kid, you know, get good grades. You learn math and science and English and all those essential skills to growing up and working and living. But you don't learn life skills.
Yeah.
You're not taught what emotional intelligence is and becoming self-aware and finding that inner peace and that happiness within yourself.
Yes.
It is a big disconnect in the school system.
Yes. And look at Robin Williams. He had everything according to that Cinderella, right? Exactly as I described, and obviously he was not happy.
Correct.
And I have many clients who make upwards of $2-3 million a year. They have all of those things and they are not happy. I know people who have nothing and are happy. I know people who have a little bit of both and who are not happy. So what is happiness? What is this thing called life? What does it mean to be happy?
Well, I had a client come to me about a year ago, and she wasn't happy, and she didn't know why. She was kind of in the boat I was years ago, had a good career, traveling the world, making great money, had her Mercedes, but just was really lacking that happiness. And she didn't know how to find it. She didn't know why she wasn't happy.
Right.
So through this journey of self-discovery, this process that I go through, she was able to really start uncovering what in life would make her happy. And, you know, sometimes that's having fun. I look at it as having life balance. When I work with people,
You're preaching to the choir on that one.
and so many of us lack life balance.
Right.
We are either great in our career and we work so much and we give it our all, but we're not with our family. We're not taking care of our health. So many people that are successful in their career, their health and wellness starts suffering. And then you'll have the opposite where people are having so much fun, they don't have a great career. And so if it's not a balanced life, you're lacking a lot of happiness and inner purpose, inner being, connecting with your essence. So when I work with people, we work through the wheel of life, and it's like a pie. And I look at it as having your spirituality, your relationships, your fun, your health and wellness, your career. It's having the balance. And for many, they focused in one or two areas.
Right.
And they have forgotten the rest.
Right.
So it's really going through a discovery journey of what's missing in those areas. What would get me excited and enthusiastic about life?
Yes. What makes you laugh?
Exactly.
You know, what makes you feel alive? And you know, when I heard that Robin had taken his own life, and I looked at how much of his happiness was based on, you know, making people laugh and feeling like I love making people laugh. I love feeling laughter come on to me. It is one of my joys and pleasures of life. But what I can remember trying to define my own happiness on how I made others feel. So I felt good when others felt good. So I validated myself by how I was making other people feel. And that's a very slippery slope. And my guess is that's one of the factors, and there's many factors of Robin's unhappiness that I will never know because I'm not him. But I'm guessing from a fellow entertainer, I love to entertain, that if I only base my happiness on how I can make you happy, that I get myself into trouble because I'm constantly looking for the outside validation and approval. So when you're talking about that self-discovery and what makes me happy, that has nothing to do with you. I think that there's a key component, and that's one of the reasons why I like your approach, is you do balance that with, I used to say, gosh, if I could just feel half as good about myself as other people say I'm as good at. So if I could respect myself just half as much as people respect me, I'd be golden. Because no matter what I did, as you were saying, you're successful in the outward. You've made you do the things that you put as a goal for yourself, and you've achieved those things, and you're still not happy. It's that when can I validate myself? When can I say, you know what, you're pretty good. You're not, and I call it that swing. People have heard me say before, where I found myself similar to you back in '85. I can remember in '85 I was supposed to get on faculty for the UCLA training laboratories, and so I had to go through the same thing myself in order to be able to teach it. And I can remember my mentor, Dr. Fred Mazurek, saying to me, "Are you happy? What makes you happy? Do you feel good about yourself?" And I had to stop and I said, I don't know. No, I don't. Because most of the time I feel when someone compliments me, I have this little voice that says, you're really not all that.
Right.
You're really not. And no matter how much good I did or how many things I achieved, I would say, yeah, but you don't really know me. So I'm a piece of shiitake. I feel like a piece of shiitake. And then I would go to the other extreme, right? When someone would compliment me, or I would do something well, or I would be recognized, or I would see someone and I criticize them, I'd go, oh, I'm pretty hot shiitake, right? So I lived my life on that. I'm hot shiitake, and then I'm a piece of shiitake. I'm a piece of shiitake. I'm a piece of no matter what. And that is a horrible, horrible way to live.
Well, I call that, I work with people on their energy blocks, and there's 4 of them. And one of them is what I call the gremlin, the inner critic. And it's something most people aren't aware of. It's in our subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And it's that piece that'll say, you can't do that. Who are you kidding? Why would you even go for that? You don't have enough experience. You don't have enough knowledge. Yeah. You're not pretty enough. And people will listen to that voice.
Yeah. I call it the liar. Yeah.
And sometimes it whispers and sometimes it screams.
Yells.
But
Absolutely.
it can hold people back tremendously.
Yeah.
So helping people understand, what is your inner critic? What are you hearing? What are you telling yourself in your subconscious mind is transformational when you start being aware of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned 4 blocks. Tell me the other 3.
Well, limiting beliefs is a big one. And they're the beliefs we create. It's based on our childhood, the experiences we had, the events, what our mom and dad told us was right or wrong, good or bad, what we learned through experiences, what our teachers taught us, what we had happen to us in school. Yeah. And we start creating this belief system. Yeah. And it becomes who we are. Yeah. And we're not even aware of it. We're just on automatic pilot. Yeah. And it makes us tick. And it can hold us back. Some of those beliefs are great, but some of them don't serve us.
Yeah, right.
And we will stop trying things because we don't believe it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I call them BS.
That's a good word for it.
Right? Belief systems are BS.
I love that.
Yeah, bullshit. So great, you're singing my tune, sister. So third block?
Well, assumptions that we make. We experience things in our life and we assume that because it didn't work before, it won't work again. So people will stop trying.
Right.
You know, things will happen to us in the business place or even in our personal life where someone let us down or we couldn't trust. They just weren't there for us. So we won't trust that person again.
Right.
And so we'll make assumptions based on past performance, past situations, and we'll stop trying.
Yeah.
And that holds people back tremendously in
Right.
so many ways. And when you start paying attention to these,
Yeah.
it's shocking how often it shows up in your world.
Right. Right. Fourth?
Interpretations, how we interpret the conversations we have with people.
Yes.
You know, I work with my clients that I coach on becoming a real intuitive, active listener so that you can really hear what people are saying.
What are you saying? Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Versus be thinking about what you think, how it should be, what's right or wrong, what they should do next, what's your opinion. And I hear that all the time in conversations at parties. I sit around the table now and I watch people.
Yeah.
Everybody has their opinion on how it should be.
Yeah.
Versus learning something from the person you're talking to.
Right.
What's their experience? Where are they coming from?
Yeah. Everybody has a right to my opinion. My friends will attest to that one. It's a good thing I have a talk radio program, right? This is where it absolutely comes in handy.
Very
yeah,
true.
I call that same principle. I learned it from Sister B. She calls it drop out of MSU University. So MSU University is make shiitake up. And we do this all the time. If we walk by someone and they don't have a smile on their face, automatically, before I did a little work on my own codependency, I would think it was all about me. They're mad at me. They don't like me. I don't look good. And all of that goes with that first, that negative voice.
Yes.
And then soon I am in this tailspin of negativity. And it actually was that person, just ate something bad at lunch and they had a bad, It had nothing to do with me. Because MSU University usually brings out the narcissist too. The world, you think that the world revolves around you in a very negative way. Right.
And it can hold you back in the business world as well. I had a client that had just started managing and leading a team of people. And one day she was walking by the lunchroom and they were all laughing and joking. And when she approached, they stopped.
Yeah.
And she thought they were joking about her.
Right.
So for months, her whole path at that company changed. She felt different. She didn't communicate the same. She didn't feel like part of the team. It affected her performance. And months later, she found out they were telling an off-color joke. And they just didn't want the new boss to hear about it.
Yeah, that happens. You drop out of MSU University. Because I think too, and I do want to spend a second because I had a lot of people comment to me about when the news came out about Robin Williams, and certainly depression is if we're going to put that moose on the table. I don't want to minimize depression at all. I also mentioned life coaching is different than therapy because licensed therapists are trained on diseases like clinical depression. And certainly if you have been diagnosed with clinical depression, it is something that, I'm not a big fan of drugs, and people who know me know that because I think that we're overprescribed now. When I first went into psychology, clinical depression was a 0.08% of the population, and now we're up to 3 out of 4 Americans are taking some kind of prescription for mood alteration.
That's
so
amazing.
To me, we did not go from 0.08 to 0.75 in clinical depression. So that being said, and that moose on the table, I do want to say that there are people who absolutely need to take medication because they have a chemical imbalance, and that's where it is invaluable. But I do believe, and which is why I think it's great that we have life coaches and coaching now as a way of giving people tools to deal with the overwhelming number of people, especially in America, who are waking up and saying, I'm not happy. I don't know why. And I don't love my life. And that's why I have this show. I purposely talk about hope and happiness 88% of the time, not because, I'm asking people to be, this walking around false sense of happiness all the time. But true happiness, there is a formula for true happiness. There are ways to love your life that don't involve taking an artificial quick fix pill.
So true.
So
I work with a doctor's office currently, and she said 80% of her patients that come in complain about stress and anxiety. And sometimes it's like, I'm stressed out at work, I'm working too many hours between the kids, the house, the job, the bills. I'm just overwhelmed. Right. I'm pressured. I can't get things done. I'm unorganized. So that kind of stress can be handled by a new thinking process.
Yes.
And providing people with tools. And I actually have a program that helps people. It provides an assessment so they can determine what is their thinking process. What are the emotions and feelings they attach with those thoughts? What are their hot buttons and their trigger points that pop up without them even realizing it? And that, combined with the energy blocks we talked about earlier, is a real eye-opener where people become more self-aware. Where's the stress coming from? I create that in my own thoughts.
Right.
And you can shift those thoughts.
Yes.
So I have a whole energy leadership process around your thinking that provides 7 new choices, 7 new ways that people can think. And if you're at the lower levels, it's the negative energy, the anxiety, the stress, the overwhelm, the unhappiness, and these are the initial thoughts that go with it. These are the feelings, and this is how you're going to act.
Right.
If you want to be happy and blissful, here's the other steps to get there.
Yeah.
And it goes right on up the levels.
Yeah.
And so they learn, okay, today I'm having a bad day. I know I can make a choice.
Yeah.
Do I want to think these thoughts, or do I want to shift?
Yeah.
And go over here. Let me try that. Let me try level 2, 3, and 4. Let me think a different thought and see what the emotion will be that's attached to it. And it's a tool I use on a daily basis because even as a coach, I have challenges in life.
Really? Really? I know. I think coaches probably add even more stress to themselves. I don't know about you, but because I teach this stuff and because I help people with it, there's another little voice that says, you shouldn't feel this way, or you should know better. You should be able to handle that, or you shouldn't. And those, I should on myself. Those shoulda, woulda, couldas.
Right.
And I have to cut myself some slack. And it's called one of the tools I use is I'm a recovering perfectionist because I don't like making mistakes, and I don't like feeling bad, and I don't like admitting mistakes, and I don't like any kind of low vibration. But the fact of the matter is I'm a human being, and I'd be really irritating to most people if I was perfect. I still want to be perfect, and I have wonderful support systems of people around me who remind me that it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to, be human and make mistakes and have an apology. So I don't know about you. Are you married?
I am married.
Okay. Does he ever throw that in front of you?
Actually, I'm married to an angel.
Oh, you're so lucky. I've got 2 teenagers that remind me constantly when I have screwed up my own 21-day fast from complaining. Aren't we on the fast today? You just blew it. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, my coach, I believe in having a coach, tells me we make choices every day in every way. And so when I get angry, I will say, you have a choice.
Yeah.
Do you want to be angry and miserable, or do you want to shift your thinking and get out of this place? And sometimes you have to be there for a minute.
Yes.
Like you said, we are human.
Yeah. And I actually believe that we have to be there for more than a minute. I have this thing called I'll be back in 2 and 2, right? Remember Chuck Woolery and the Love Connection? So I believe that I cannot be fully happy unless I fully express that which I am feeling in the moment,
Right.
and then I can release it, especially anger, especially irritation, especially I allow myself the luxury of 2 minutes of resentment every month because I just need to, have that and have it out. And my
Right.
kids know exactly when it is with my husband, who's an easy target. But most of the time, I'm not. But it is because I give myself permission to vent. And so I talk to 2 people for 2 minutes, 2 times, and then I'm not allowed to come back to it. And that helps me stay in the happiness. So because negative energy takes up more volume than positive.
Very true.
And so if I don't release it, it builds up.
I feel the same.
Right?
Yeah, I was coaching someone just this week who came in and she said, I'm known as the peacekeeper in my family. And she said, so I'm always keeping the peace and I'm always going along with what everybody else wants and it's never about me, it's always about them. And she goes, and then eventually it just builds up inside. And one day I'll just blow my stack and they wonder what happened to her.
Right.
And so people will keep stuffing that under the carpet. Yeah. And there's a lot of reasons. They're not comfortable having difficult conversations. They don't know how to set their boundaries, the fear of being rejected, and they don't stand up for themselves.
Yes.
So these are some of the tools that I teach people. I just released 10 videos.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. And they were on passion and purpose, how to set boundaries, how to release the disease to please, how to have life balance with less stress. And which one do you think was the most popular?
The last one.
How to have life balance with less stress. It's a big one. It's all
Are these
over.
on? Now, these are, how do we find you? Brenda Williams is sponsoring this show, so thank you for that,
You're
that we're
welcome.
able to talk about all of these great things. How do people find you and find these videos?
The best bet is to go to my website. Everything's there. And it is yourcoachingsolution.com.
Okay. Yourcoachingsolution.com. Easy.
It's spelled YOURCOACHING, no S.
Okay.
Solution, no
No
S.
S.
dot
Okay.
com.
Wonderful.
And I also have a free 12-week program there.
Ah.
So that people can start their journey to self-discovery and self-awareness.
That's great.
That provides the tools, the techniques, the self-assessments, where they can look at themselves and discover, how strong is my communication skills? What are my relationships like? They get to look at, what is the fear that might be standing in my way? They learn more about those energy blocks we talked about.
Right. Great. And people can remote use you? Do they have to be you're in Southern California?
Yes, I'm in Southern California,
okay.
but I work with people all over the world on the phone.
Great.
Yeah.
So please do check out Brenda Williams and yourcoachingsolution.com, singular, no plural. And if you've just tuned in, we are talking about life dis-ease and how to have more life happiness on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. And today is a good day and a sad day. We mentioned the passing of Robin Williams, and I wanted to have a moment of healing peace, taking that deep breath for his family. And for so many people who have expressed their gratitude and their loss in someone who has brought so much happiness into other people's lives. And as I wrote on my Facebook this morning, that I know you're on the other side, Robin. I know you're with my dad. And I hope that you know now, or you will know, just how valuable you are. And that actually that message goes out to anyone who is tuning in right now, anyone who is listening to the sound of my voice, that every single person in this thing called life is a unique and beautiful child of the universe with gifts, talents, and abilities to use in this lifetime. I really love that expression that I learned probably a decade ago, that we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're actually spiritual beings having a human experience. And I believe that there is life eternal, and it is my choice to believe that there's so much more than this thing called life, but there is only this thing called life in this way, and that there's many, many beings that want to actually enter this thing called life. And I got fortunate enough, you got fortunate enough to actually come here and feel that only human beings can feel with our five senses. There are other beings around who don't have a body to feel all of the things. And some of those things are sadness, and some of those things are despair, and some of those things are hopelessness. But most of the things that we can feel are on that other side. The joy, the peace, the love, the inspiration, the creativity, the generosity, the bliss, the wonder, that aliveness that only comes with this thing called life. So if you're not feeling that way, if you are feeling, and I have to say, I have felt that I wanted to finish this thing called life. When I was going through my divorce, it was very, very, very painful. When I was going through the abuse as a child, it was very, very, very painful. And since divorce happens to 2 out of 3 of us, and since childhood abuse happens to up to 7 out of 10 of us, then I'm speaking to the majority of human beings when I say it's just a feeling. And if you are feeling that feeling, and if you're at the point where you want to actually end this thing called life, I want you to call the suicide hotline, which my client Chris wanted me for sure to bring up on the show today. That number is 800-273-8255. There is someone on the other end. There's actually probably someone that you can call any number right now that you know loves you, that knows you and loves you exactly as you are. We don't want to believe that. And here's the thing. As I've done this thing called life coaching for the last 10 years, what has been just unbelievable is knowing and talking, and I speak to thousands of people every year around the world. And through the show, I'm reaching, close to, I think it's almost 750,000 now in the 111 shows that I've been on. So I know from talking to people that every single person I've ever met has this hole. If you're breathing, at one point or another, you have these feelings that it's like a dark black hole in front of you. And if you feel like you have that dark black hole in front of you, you are not alone. Whatever happens to us, even if nothing happens to us, it's a strange thing. Human feeling, that despair and that black hole. And especially if you've had abuse or if you've had some kind of trauma in your life, if you've lost someone close to you, any kind of trauma, people have this black hole. And we feel like that if we go there, if we address what it is that is our core unhappiness, what if we do that exploration? It's scary.
It is scary.
We think that if we go and jump in that hole, there's no bottom and we're going to die. I know I had that feeling. I'm guessing that you had that feeling 15 years ago, right?
Yes.
Right? We don't want to go there.
Yeah. I like to say it's looking in the mirror at the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
But once you take that look,
yes,
you can make a choice.
Yeah.
Who you want to be.
Yeah. I don't know anyone who has died from actually going in that hole and exploring. Not going in that hole and giving up, but actually going in that hole, usually with someone like a coach or your best friend or your priest or your mom or someone who loves you, someone who cares about you. And that's the one great thing about coaches. We do care about you, right?
Yes.
And hold your hand and go down. And what happens is with programs like yours, with programs like mine, with approaches, and there's so many different approaches, but I think the core is to love the good, bad, and the ugly, exactly as you said. Because when you go in that hole, what we find out is it's not limitless. It's not, there's a bottom. There's a bottom, there's sides, those belief systems, those lies, okay, those feelings are not all that there is.
No. And You
Go
can
ahead.
step outside of your box.
Yes.
That's what I say coaches do.
Yeah.
They help you view your life through different filtered glasses. They give you a different perspective, a different vantage point.
Great.
So they do that through empowering questions.
Yes.
To help you really reach deeper inside
Yeah.
as to who you truly are and who you want to become.
I love the words. I love the words. They
Yeah.
are true words. I also liken coaches to, you're still going in the basement, you're still going in that dark hole, but now you have flashlight. Right?
True.
You have a flashlight. You have more than one flashlight. And the more tools you have, the brighter it becomes. And then the shiitake that you find that's down there, you can actually begin to shovel it out. And once you shovel it out, you discover the most amazing thing, that it's manure. And we need manure to grow.
Yes.
And it's really interesting. Some of the most happy people I know say, I am grateful for all the shiitake that happened to me. I'm one of them. I would not be who I am. I would not know the joy that I have. I would not be able to help the people that I do had I not had the abuse, had I had not that difficult divorce, had I not had all of those things that were so painful that I really thought I could never heal from.
Yes.
I promise you, you can heal. You can heal from the worst possible things that should have never happened to a child.
That's so true. And it makes you stronger. And then you can help others. I've met many people that have been abused, and they say they wouldn't change it for the world because they became a stronger person.
Yeah.
And they were able to help heal others.
Absolutely.
And volunteer their time and helping others overcome those obstacles so that they could grow stronger and move on with their lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
how you want to use it. How
Yeah.
do you want to package it?
exactly. It's that in psychology, I should have prepared to put it on a slide, but the old woman, young woman, I use that in my talks. Do you remember that in Psychology 101? If you look at that picture one way, it looks like an old woman.
Oh, yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
And you look at the woman, you see a young woman. That's life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
You can either see the old woman, nothing wrong with the old women, by the way, but
Well,
you
I'll be
can
there.
see. I'm ageless. Just had that birthday. People ask me how old you are. First, I go, you are not asking me, and two, I'm very proud of it, but I am ageless.
I'm having a big one in a few weeks.
Are you? Okay, 21, right?
Yeah.
But it's that we can take the same picture. And we can see it any way we choose to see it. Choice is the most powerful tool that we've been given as human beings. And most of us haven't picked it up.
I find the people that are the most happy are the ones that are creating their life and looking inside as to who they are and finding that happiness and joy from within. And it can be something so simple,
Yeah.
from seeing a beautiful sunset to walking down the street and holding someone's hand that you love. It doesn't have to be that Mercedes and that big house and working and just giving your all to get there. It's stopping and enjoying life.
Yeah.
The things that we take for granted. I watched a video the other day that Oprah put out there by a man. His name's called Chris. No legs, no arms.
Ah, yes.
And that is the most inspirational video
Yes.
in the world.
Yes.
To see how happy he is.
Yes. One of my listeners wants to have him on the show, and we're working on that, Daniel.
Yeah, he's an amazing man.
He is an amazing man. He's married. Anytime my clients start going into the victim and marinating in their own poor me juices,
Yes.
my first prescription is spend 2 minutes marinating, see
Yes.
how that makes you feel, and then turn on that video.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is truly inspirational. Yeah.
To watch someone like that.
Yeah, and I like what you said about it doesn't have to be expensive to make you happy. And not only that, I noticed that in my own life, the shelf life of happiness, or that tea life, as we call it, before it expires. When I find happiness, like if I when I take that first sip of coffee, and I am there with my coffee, and I am one with that sip of coffee, I get so much pleasure. And I can have that every single morning. I know the formula for that.
Yes.
Now, I won't feel it if I'm not there in the moment.
Living in the present moment.
Thank
So
you.
much to be said for that.
Exactly. Because even if I think about, now I love my car. People who know me, I love my Jaguar. And it's a 2007. And every time I see that car, I go, baby, I love you. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I get pleasure from that car. Okay? And I can honestly say I have not seen a new car that I actually want more than the car I have. Okay? Now, if I was of the other mindset, I had to have a new car every 3 years. And if I didn't have a new car every 3 years, I would say that I wasn't happy with the car that I was. And the thing is, what's interesting is, I would get that new car and I would be happy for about a week. New house,
Yes.
same thing. New outfit, same thing. New bond with so much money that doesn't appreciate anymore, happy for just about a week.
A week.
A week. Just about a week. The thing that I'd worked so hard for. Okay. And then it would be, is someone looking to see, they like my car. And then I would get a tiny bit of pleasure from that. And then it would be gone. So happiness is fleeting if you do not stay in the middle of it. That's how I get my 88%. I make sure that I am reveling and juicing and in the center and just like the Oreo, licking my happiness inside of it. And the present moment is the gift.
Right.
Right? Because if I'm there, I'm happy.
And a tool that I give my clients to use is to focus on the attitude of gratitude. What have you achieved? What do you have? What's the wonderful things that happened today? So many of my clients will come in and beat themselves up over a mistake they made at the office or a challenging situation with a friend. And they just beat themselves up and judge themselves tremendously.
Yeah.
And I always shift them away from that to thinking about what they have accomplished, how many wonderful relationships they do have.
Yes.
Let's take a moment for the attitude of gratitude from the simple things like the air we breathe and the running water we have.
Yes.
And the legs and arms we have
Absolutely.
to walk upon.
And you have beautiful eye color, beautiful eyes. You have a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. And you have a wonderful way with words, and you have a wonderful way about you to make people feel comfortable. Are you receiving this?
I am. Thank you.
Good. Take a breath. And the reason why I did that's another way to help us use choice. So as you said, in every given moment, we choose to what we focus on. And I can focus on all the things that did not go well, all the things that I have screwed up on, and I have, or choose that in this very moment, I am here right now with you, and you can remember those words that I said. Because I think that is something that very successful, outwardly successful people who are dying inside. Okay, so anyone, and I've had them on my show, who are outwardly successful, but inside, like Robin, they were so unhappy. Okay, is that if we can bake our own cake and if we can pull up into our minds all of the goodness that we are, all of the things that we have done, as you're saying, remembering where we have done well. Because if you're an overachiever, it's very difficult to remember what's good. Because by the very nature of being an achiever, we're constantly looking to what's wrong,
And driving.
what needs to be fixed.
What's
Okay.
next?
What's next? What's next? What's next? And so on a continuum, we're always at 88%. And the 88 that we've done, we don't focus on. We focus on the 12 that we still have to get to.
So
and that
true.
feeling is very unsettling. There's tension there.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brenda, there's so much good in you. And I hope that you stay and remember that goodness in you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You've
Been
been
wonderful.
a delightful guest. Thank you for helping me talk about this thing called life and the dis-ease. And don't forget, if you want to work with Brenda, it's very easy. You go to www.yourcoachingsolution.com. Thanks so much for coming on. A little bit of applause for you. It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much. It's been a privilege.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And we're up at the end of our time, and just a couple minutes for my balance bar announcement. Step up to my balance bar. There we go. Where you get a menu of the things that I offer, and because I'm now called the Asian Oprah, I am giving stuff away. Congratulations to Anastasia from Florida for winning last week's copy of Women Change the World. I do have one more copy of that that was published by Michelle Patterson, the CEO of the California Women's Conference, and I am on page 156 there. So if you'd like a copy, please go to www.balance.org to get your free copy. First one on there will get it. Today is day 12 on the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa. So today's is my favorite quote from the Dalai Lama, who is now a follower on my tweet, by the way, thanks to this. If there's a problem and there's no solution, there's nothing to worry about. And if there's a problem and there's no solution, there's still nothing to worry about. So its cousin is complaining, so nothing to complain about as well. So if you'd like to go 21 days in a row without fasting, you will win a copy of my motivational cards called 52 Card Pick Me Up, Stacking the Deck for Life Balance. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa. And last but not least, I got another award. And the drum roll is to thank very much. This is the first time I actually got 2 awards in 1 week. I don't know if it's because it was my birthday, but I'd like to thank both the Asian Heritage Society for the Best in Entrepreneurship Award, and that you can join me at the function in November. Again, you can register at AsianHeritageAwards.com. And then the second award is from the Asian Women Entrepreneurs, who gave me the Business Person of the Year Lotus Award. Thank you to AWE for that. That's it for this week. Next week, we are having a back to school special, and you will hear from 2 fabulous teenagers, one being my daughter, Chloe Mae Carpenter, and her friend Renee Cogden. Out of the horse's mouth, the only thing they know is they're not allowed to swear because of the FCC on NBC now. But you are going to hear answers like, why is your generation seeming to have so many more psychological problems? What is it with y'all and social media? And what do our generation do to embarrass you? So answers to questions like that, you'll have to tune in next week on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive EI. Remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.